This is general advice, does not constitute accept no responsibility. Then this was my view of CBA at the end of May, looking for a retracement back down in. Was the beginning of the fifth wave up. That's pretty annoying. Copper, 61.8% retrace. Time. I myself bought some CBA shares, lower levels, and you've got to see it down towards really about $76 or $74.28. If you think you're better off, if you're short-term trading, you go for a little bit of strength, but generally you'd be holding. An achievable realistic target so we're fully long, and I'll start to explain the rationale. But within this, it still may be some sort of five-wave structure, and this into early August. Why that is, I can't tell you. I used to work for them, but I can't tell you why that would be. Maybe it's they pay executive bonuses, all right? So Macquarie Bank is not, year end is March, is it? Charles, is year end for Macquarie Group March? Either March or September. Okay, so you've had the excitement, it drops off and you sell in May, go away, then come back to think about August or early September to buy in when they start having the powwow. So what we're seeing here is a descending triangle based on a 10-year cycle. So I can't get, they're going to have to pull some magic rabbits out of a hat for Macquarie Group when it gets below $86, because otherwise it's in deep poo-poo and we're looking to those lower levels. Okay. Now, it's over to you. What would you like to look at in terms of banking stocks for a Bank of Queensland and the Bendy Bank, the Bendy Bank, Bank of Queensland, and BTT, which is a financially, okay, Tony. Hope you're good. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Let's do a look at cycles for Mr. Bank of Queensland. Bank of Queensland. Similar pattern. Mid-July, next week of July, and then a run up into October. That's nice. Let's do the yearly gig and give us an idea of what the yearly looks like on Wednesday. You should also check out whether there's any lost souls. Okay, so this is BOQ. Now, it's been in existence since 1990. What's the problem with this chart? Well, of course, the problem is it hasn't done very well for the last 7 years, not gotten above the old tops. What else? It's low and it hasn't really rallied that well. It's just below $10. But we'll give it a benefit of doubt because it is from Queensland. Vince, I can see your question. I'll need to delete a few things to answer that. Okay, so let's look at the quarterly chart. Still, I'd focus on $9.36 area and notice that this is a nice up move and this is corrective in nature. So I'd be looking $9.37 on Queensland. But when? The answer is I don't know, because it doesn't fit with the cycles. Let's do a daily roundup. It's certainly gone higher than the other banks on this retracement. It's kind of outperformed on the retracements against the other banks. So what does that tell us? It tells us it's okay. It probably needs another push towards about $12.26. And I don't mind buying this down to $11.54, stop below 11.40 cents, hoping for that higher area, 26, for whatever reason, structurally. So that's Bank of Queensland. Now, Vince is asking, is Westpac at the moment is my short-term favourite bank? Why is that? Because it's got the capacity for a bit more juice on it on an upside move to the target area. Now, longer term, I still would prefer CBA over most of them, but I'm cautious that CBA needs to be traded at this point unless you're already in from $80 or lower. Why? Because it's going to be harder yards getting into that area. Now, Vince is saying also everyone is talking about a crash in October. No, you've done my forecast, Vince. My forecast is for a 10 to 20% decline starting in early August. If everyone's waiting for a crash in October, it's probably not going to happen, or it will happen earlier. So let's Bendigo bank it. Let's look at Bendy. Now, I don't know about you, but almost every credit card merchant I deal with uses Bendigo Bank. You go to a place and Bendigo Bank. A lot of them use St George as well, but Bendigo Bank features prominently. On with this chart. Number one, it's in a triangle. So it's been confusing itself for the past 10 years. Why that is, I don't know. It's not in Queensland. It's made a new yearly high. So in terms of the regional banks, Bendigo Bank is a little bit better than Bank of Queensland. It's also been making like the right noises, but I'd worry about it if it broke 942. Picking up on the monthlies. David says he used to work at Bendigo Bank. CEO told me his mantra was to never compete on price, only service. Silly, but it's kind of not in some ways, David, because when you're in a bank, I get alternatives. You can go to the next place. Bank of Queensland was aggressively offering loans last year, and they said, unbelievable numbers to me that we could borrow, and I could borrow. And then when you said, well, how about it? They went, oh, we've changed our policy. So yeah, price competition does kind of hurt you in some ways. Yeah. So we see strong volume to the downside, but overall the pattern is not brilliant. I'd give it down to $10, a little bit lower, 9.72. Somewhere between $10.06 and 9.72. If you can pick it up down there, it's good. What do we do with the cycles? So I'm liking Bendigo as a principle better than Bank, but I don't understand why, because you think Bank of Queensland would have more capacity to make lots of money from improvement in materials. You see, Bank of Queensland generally bottoms in June, and we can see it bottom 9th of June, stronger-ish. It's head-butted something, it gets better if it gets above 1160. It becomes a buy above 1160 for a run into mid-August, and then a dip. So Bendigo is a bit better and BOC. Okay, next cab off the rank, we have the request for BTT. Thanks, Vince. Now, this is BT Investment Management. We see declining price. Let's go and add the volume in. So we can see what's going on with the volume. Notice volume declining price. So it's kind of okay in some perspectives. But it generally isn't best from now on, which is about here or about over here. Until it's probably safer to think about in for rally up into mid-November. Let's do a, I don't think we can do a yearly on BTT, but we can see it's kind of okay. It's kind of in a fourth, had come out of or is in a fourth wave. When we drop down onto the probably the monthly charts, we might see that fourth wave behavior, and then it's done a fifth wave. So we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a bad wave count. Struggling. It's not low. 920 would be bad. It's not awful. Let's look on the dailies. Okay. So BTT probably in a fifth wave with a bit more to go. We've seen a retracement on the 38.2. So here's the way you play this. If it breaks above $11.50 for $12.26. If it breaks down below $11, then sell it. So BTT, I would prefer it just because of the way the longer term uptrend is, but you don't have to be in a grand hurry. Now, we have a couple of questions in the box, which the box has disappeared. Next one is the bigger Suncorp. Yearly. Cool. 1990 again. Terribly crushed. In fact, this was going to go broke in 2007 until Kevin Rudd came along. 2008, he was seriously going to go broke. It's had trouble getting above that 1563 area. Is still not fabulous. We're about halfway through the year. Still not awesome. On the monthly charts, we can see driving for the retracement to 1620. So I think it's okay on a monthly chart, just looking for retracement to 1620, 97. Let's see if we can find any rhyme or reason in its ability on cycles. The answer is it's usually got its best buying dip in March, and it tends to rally August. So the Suncorp is higher ranking than Bank of Queensland. And you've got higher targets. At the moment, if you want stop loss below $14.30 would make sense. Yes. So these are the stocks, the bank stocks that are, there's none that are finishing the uptrend. In other words, there's nothing terribly good. There's none that are finishing the downtrend. Are there any in continuation waves? There's none in continuation waves. Down. And there's The XFJ is continuation in the uptrend wave. So at the moment, X is kind of funky. If you want to look at some of the indexes on an accumulation basis, the financials has been quite a good index. And XFJ, we've talked about before, it's probably coming in, it's probably in the fourth of wave 3 of wave 5. What do I mean by that? It's confused. The fourth gives you confusion. Gives you strength. Wave 5 gives you a termination. And at the moment, if it came back down into the 59.86, you'd start good thoughts. So at the moment, as I've mentioned before, you might expect the 6,700 area. You might drop 25. But overall, we've kind of got a mixed picture across the board. We're not likely to get lower interest rates. The banks have done well during lower interest rates, not including Bendigo Bank, Suncorp and Bank of Queensland, so they're more playing catch up. Any more questions? For those of you who are not Profit Owner Group members and would like to be, send me an email during the day and we'll show you some things. XXJ is the bank index that is property. Yes, it is indeed. Found on the J and XSJ. Now the J dominate. That's 69.70, 66.70. Let's see what we get in terms of rhythm. So we've still got the same pattern, which is probably a cycle. We'll do XJ. Right, so I don't think it would. It doesn't. Okay. Here's the weekly, and on the weekly chart we can see it's rallied just like the FXJ into the right area. It likes to low mid like the XFJ, and it gets more interesting after it tends to rally up into October. So playing that game, we're going to do a yearly. We can see the XXJ has done well, but here through 79.10. So it's still a little bit confused. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're possibly in a fifth wave, so a push higher is to be hoped for. Break would be above 78.78, stop below 69.82. Again, that doesn't change my analysis for the XFJ. You really need, in general, you really got to take them on a case-by-case basis. Look at the rotation of the dividends and the movements and the safety in the dividends. Be careful on if it's busting about this area here at 71.30. We'll just look at the trend line and see if we can draw that in. I know I've already tried to break it. Let's make it here. So 71.45 on stop on the XXJ. We all done, all good. Our conclusions are Westpac for the short-term trade, CBA looking for dips. If you can get a $68 or $62, that's magic. If you can get ANZ down at $26.10, that's also magic. Westpac is bringing up the rear in terms of the rally. A little bit dubious. Westpac, if it broke and got $27, start to soak up some there. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. So we might think about shorting Westpac on a little bit of a rally up. And remember, we looked at the timing, end of July, and then another dip into August, September. Okay, so are we good? Any more questions? Another question coming up. So it looks like the coast is clear for buy and hold type investors, like older people who hold the banks in their SMS for income, i.e. no big sell-offs for a while near. So Jay, little bit, not quite there, David. If you get a good sell-off, 27 in Westpac, 26.10 in ANZ, I think it was $23 in NAB, $68, that's where the long-term buy and hold should really, really load up. But you should also be looking to buy specifically on medium-term dips in the stocks that you can get good dividends in the next dividends coming up. So it's kind of like a monkey bar strategy. You're going to look for the next run. You're going to make sure that you get to the next run rather than looking for the end of the monkey bars, because you're going to fall off if you're going to do that. So do the monkey bar strategy. Does that make sense? You can be, you know, we haven't quite proven any of the washout, you know, proven that there's been a completion of this washout. XPJ, we can see the property index, which has got some relationships to the banks. Now, it just blitzed it below 1375 and just kept on rolling. It's still trending down. And, you know, it probably is okay if it gets above 1302, looking for 1332. But we can see ugly targets down to 1100 area on this one as well. And so see here, that 1171 area is the area, and if it's down there, maybe the banks start to become better value. And at least you can defend the position off 1171 on the property index. Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome and fantabulous evening. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. The 10 to 20% is more for international, Teresa. It'd be good to see it affecting Australia. Cindy, if you've registered for this, you should get an email for the recording. Yes, I will put it up, but you also get, I know it's not in the preferred format, so you can run through Speedy for you, but it does come up. Okay, see everyone. Actually, I'll put up the recording now for you, Cindy. Fetching kids from the airports. Okay, that's the recording, the YouTube one, and the other one will come via email. That's straight off the recording setup. Thanks, everyone. Have a good